Welcome to Focus on Education. I'm Keith Fillauer, Chairman of the Oak Ridge Board of Education, and each month a member of the Board of Education hosts Focus on Education with a guest which we hope will bring you information about our school system. I can't tell you how excited I am about this show. We are actually sitting in the new conference room of the new Oak Ridge Preschool, which will officially be opening on March the 30th. And if you're watching this show, we hope by the end of the show, you will have a tour of our new facility. The show will run a number of times during the month of March and even during spring break. So we hope you're tuning in and taking a look at a great facility that our Oak Ridge Preschool students will be learning in. I have a couple of guests today, and then we'll do a tour of the facility, as I said. My first guest, I'm glad to have Mr. Alan Thacker, who's the Oak Ridge School Supervisor of Maintenance Operations. So, Alan, are you excited?
Very excited.
I know Alan has put an extreme amount of time and effort into supervising, probably nailing a few nails and moving a few boards and opening a few packages and all kinds of other things in this building. So I know you're very proud of it because you certainly have a major stake in the completion of this building. Now, this next question I'm going to ask you, we could spend probably the rest of the day on. So I'm going to ask you to narrow the answer down a little bit.
Sure.
How did we get right here? What did it take to get us where we are in this new preschool, almost ready to open?
I think a true commitment from the city to really look at what our needs are and push forward the idea of building this new preschool was the biggest piece. And once we got that underway, construction took off pretty quickly after we got a plan in place that everybody agreed upon. And the biggest challenge was fighting the weather. We're continuing to fight the weather here at the end of the project, just as we did at the beginning of the project.
Let me jump in right there. Speaking of the weather, even though that has been an issue, we are pretty close to being on schedule for the opening. Is that not correct?
Yes, we are. The contractor did a fantastic job of making up time. They originally lost about 40 days in wet weather originally on the front end of this job, and we're just trying to wrap up the landscaping on the outside of the building, which with the current weather here and the wettest spring I can remember, winter actually, that it's taking a little bit more time to get that wrapped up, but we're in good shape.
Our contractor is Jenkins and Stiles. What role have you played in working with our contractor?
I was more of a go-between between the contractor and the schools and helping them to head off any problems they might have or foresee any issues when it comes to how a construction-related issue may affect our children long-term. Looking at 3- and 4-year-olds in a building is a lot different than building an office facility or even a middle or high school, because the needs are very specific and pointed toward their different size and caliber.
Other than the weather, what has been the major hurdle that you felt like you had to get over to really move this project forward?
I think settling on a design that we could all get to and really was functional for both the schools and something that the city was able to get behind as well. Once we had a design that was in place and that fit all the needs of our kids, I think that was the biggest hurdle.
I know sitting in a meeting, I've lost track of time of when this meeting actually took place, but sitting in the initial meeting to begin discussion about where this preschool would be located, and trying to make some decisions just to get us off the ground, And you've heard me say this many, many times. The discussion about a preschool actually has been going on for years. It's a long time coming. We're leaving a building that we should have left actually years ago, that we're have been putting money into to keep functional. Now we won't have to do that. Our next step will be a new school administration building, but that will be a discussion for another show, for another time. But I have to honestly say, I really never thought that this would occur. But it has been an effort with the city and with the schools, with community members to push this forward. It's just exciting. I just can't describe how exciting it is just to sit here and know what our students are going to face when they come in here for the first time on March the 30th. What's left to do in the building?
Right now they're down to the punch list items. So the major construction is complete and they're doing the final cleanup. The new furniture has been moved in and they're just trying to put the icing on the cake, if you will, touching up a little paint here and there, wrapping up a few little punch list items. And the playground area is being held up a little bit with the weather, but we're pretty close to wrapping that up. We are turning on the electronics in the building starting next week. So we'll have all the data that we normally have at all of our sites will be active and running here. And they have just a little bit of outside landscaping left to do.
One of the things that in any building, be it a new building or an existing building, that in today's times that we get questions about is security. What type of security will people see in this building?
The biggest thing is the security they don't see.
That's a good point. That's a good point. The best security is one that you don't even know that's there.
Yes.
So we'll be cautious as you answer this.
We have our normal security that we have in all of our schools. We have access control on all of our doors. We have, from the outside entrance, we have key control for all the classrooms. We have video surveillance. We have burglar alarm. We have panic alarms. We have safety tent on windows, and we have safety film on windows. So there's a lot of security that's built into here, and a few things that we usually keep as a secure item that we don't bring up.
I'll put you on the spot again with this next question. When a person walks into this building for the first time, what one thing would you tell them that they're going to see is going to have that wow factor? What would it be?
I think how bright it is. The old preschool is lit on old technology. It's kind of dark wood flooring. It just seems dark sometimes. But you walk in here, it's bright, it's vibrant, the colors just snap out at you, and it's welcoming, very inviting, feels fresh.
I know we were talking earlier, and one of the things I said was the one thing that I hate to lose from our existing preschool are the wooden floors there. But after having walked around a little while ago, I'm not even sad to see them go now. This is just going to be an amazing facility. I know you and your staff within the school district will be working hard to make the final move. What are the plans for that final move in before March 30th?
We currently have a 2-week scheduled plan where we're breaking down each individual classroom. We're working with the teachers individually, and I have a crew set up for each teacher that will come and move them from the old preschool, load them up, move them to the new preschool, and we'll work with them for about 4 to 5 hours per room, helping them get oriented into their room, get their materials put away, and then we'll work with another teacher. So each day we're working with about 4 teachers with our team and getting them moved in, as well as the administration. Prior to that, we'll move some of the non-essential areas and materials the week before. But we have it set up so that we've got about 3 days left at the end of the spring break to be able to do our punch list of clean up, tidy up, help teachers with any other details that we may not have thought of. But we've worked with the preschool teachers, met with them quite a bit, gave them instruction on how to pack and what kind of service we're going to provide them to make their move as less stressful as possible, and let them focus on inviting those kids into this new building.
Well, that's great. We were talking as we were walking around earlier and looking at the playground. Somewhat of perhaps a unique playground in the fact that it's enclosed by the building and by fencing at one end of the building. When we get to the playground, tell us how that was constructed and what we'll see when we go there.
Sure. One area of the playground is concrete, and that is our trike area, which we have at the other location. It's part of their learning environment. You move beyond the trike area and you move into a turf area. So it's kind of like our AstroTurf at our new football field, only it's engineered for playground specifically with the proper fall attenuation cushioning beneath it. So that's where our climbing areas and free play area is. Then there's a sidewalk that bisects the two sections of playground, and the next section has wood chips, and that wood chip area has our sand box and our swings. And we feel like that gives a little bit more play area for those types of activities that are safer, and there's a couple of grass areas as well for outdoor play, so that we can have some of their outdoor play activities that are required to be on grass. So those are all within that boundary, which has security gates, and we also have a video surveillance camera in that area as well.
So I'm correct in saying that of the equipment that is there, a good portion of it is brand new equipment.
Yes.
And some of it we were able to bring from current preschool location because we had some relatively new equipment in that area. Is that correct?
That's correct. One of our main play structures is a climber play structure that was purchased year before last on grant funding, and so it's very new, and we was able to have it reinstalled at this location, and we've added sunshade over that area as well as the sandbox area, so we have nice tent sunshades in those areas for their play events. And then a few other climbers that were on site that were less than 5 to 6 years old, and we've moved those over here, and we'll be cleaning those, making sure they look as fresh and new as when we got them out of the box originally.
When I come in the front door, I will find the administrative offices, correct?
That's correct.
What will I find there? When I say administrative offices, what does that mean? What will I find there?
Your first entrance in the front door will bring you into security vestibule, and then you'll be buzzed into the administrative offices, and what you'll find is the receptionist, the principal, bookkeeper, a couple of conference rooms that are set up in that location, as well as some of the staff that works directly with the principal. And that area works with our administration. Beyond that, we have another area that provides other services.
Tell me about the kitchen area.
It's about 4 to 5 times larger than their current kitchen area. It has modern equipment. We have, rather than a residential stove, we've got a nice oven that is commercial ovens for reheating. Food is not prepared at this site. It is still prepared at the high school and then delivered to this site, but we have responsibilities for reheating as well as cleanup, and all food is then, once it is brought to this site, is divided up and sent to the classrooms. We don't have a cafeteria. Part of our regimen is to have our meals in the classroom with the students, family style. So that is, we have a cart that goes to every classroom, and our cafeteria worker here prepares the food on the carts and takes it to the rooms.
One of the things that was pointed out to me is that in that kitchen area, the entrance is right into that area, as opposed to in the old preschool, they had to park their truck out front, come up the steps, and then make their way into the kitchen area. So this is actually a lot more secure for that to happen, and the service is immediate to that area. They don't have to wander through the building to get there, correct?
That is correct. It's easy to have it's a nice loading and unloading area, something they haven't had in the past. No steps. They'll back right up and come right in on a level there. And it's going to be easier for delivery and pickup.
A final question. Of concern probably to those who will be coming to this school, both visitors and parents as well, and staff. Access, parking areas, bus entrance, staff entrance. Can you talk about that and describe that, even though we're not, hopefully we'll get a chance to get a little of that on film as well so people can see that, but is there a way you can explain that?
Sure. On the south side of the building, we have a loop that will be for parent drop-off, and there is parking in that area. The parent drop-off loop has a covered walkway that ends at the end of the sidewalk so they can drop off underneath the cover. The very front of the building has our bus loop where the buses will unload, also under a covered walkway. And on the north side of the building is the parking for staff as well. So staff can divide up on either side, but there's plenty of visitor parking, and everything is on this side of the road of the community center. And
if a large event is taking place here, there would be some overflow parking at the Scarborough Community Center, I would imagine, across the street.
I would think that would be possible, yes.
So unlike the old preschool, where the buses and the parents had to come in the same pathway, we now have them separate, which should make it much more effective and efficient, and we won't hopefully have to have the staff standing out in the rain or inclement weather with an umbrella unloading all of the cars in the buses or whatever, because we do have a long, very long covered walkway area.
That is correct.
Yeah, great. Alan, thank you for taking your time. I know you're busy trying to get the punch list complete and touching up all the other aspects and getting staff moved in. We're looking forward to March the 30th. Again, I know you're excited. The board appreciates your efforts, your staff's effort, because you all have been instrumental in making this project happen, and you should be very proud as well of what we have here.
Thank you.
So thank you. We'll be going to take a break, and my next guest will be Miss Lisa Downard, the principal of the Oak Ridge Preschool, and we'll talk a little bit more in detail about what the kids should expect when they get here. Welcome back to Focus on Education. We are today at the new Oak Ridge Preschool opening March 30th. My next guest is Miss Lisa Downard, who is the principal of our preschool. If I'm excited, if Alan's excited, you have to be really excited,
yes,
because you're the one that's going to be living in here
yes,
with your kiddos and your staff.
Yes.
So we're going to talk about some of the great areas that this building has,
Sure.
Particular areas that our other facility didn't have,
Sure.
or larger areas. So let's start with the gym.
Sure.
Tell us what we're going to see in the new gym.
Oh, the gym is gorgeous. They've put down a beautiful vinyl, wood-looking, but vinyl floor with markings on it for where the children can line up and come to congregate as one group and then go to their separate groups for instruction. It's bright and welcoming and cheerful. It's got a ton of storage space, which is very nice for us to organize all of the equipment that we're bringing with us. And I really, in particular, the windows, the entrance at the building, you look into the gym,
yes,
and it is really very stunning. And then from that, looking out to the playground. So it's just this beautiful illusion of size. You know, it just is grandeur. It's beautiful.
Let me stop here and ask you a question that I asked Alan, and you may have the same answer. But a person that's coming in for the first time and they walk in, where's the wow factor? What's the wow factor going to be for
Where
you?
do I begin?
That's true. That's true.
I have to keep it short, right?
Yeah.
Honestly, I think the word that comes to my mind when I walk through that entrance is state of the art. It has this modern, almost space age-ish looking interior. It is really just beautiful. It's bright and welcoming, and the colors are vibrant without being obnoxious, if you'd say. You know, they're just this welcoming collection of colors, and very child friendly and family appropriate. And I think the word that comes to my mind is state of the art, truly.
And I certainly would agree with that. Go back just for a minute talking about the gym. If one had ever been in the old gym facility, they would know that it's a shared space with the Board of Education.
Yes.
And, our meeting area there, you won't have to put up with that anymore.
No.
And I was trying to think, maybe there was one closet or a couple of corners for storage,
Yes.
and that was about
That's it.
So, as you mentioned, that will be a great aspect as well.
Yes.
And you also mentioned, and I really like this too, the openness of the gym, where it looks, as you said, out onto the playground,
Yes.
actually makes that gym area look bigger than it really is.
It does.
So that's a great feature.
Yes.
Looking at the building from the front, you're going to see the front entrance in the front area, which includes the administrative offices and some other areas we're going to talk about in a minute.
Sure.
And then you would see two wings that are twins.
Yes.
What's in one wing is also in the other wing.
Yes.
So one thing too I think is important to mention about that, there is room for growth.
There is.
If we need to add additional space, which someday we hope that is the case, it's there as well. So let's start as if we were leaving the administrative area,
Okay.
and we're turning, and we've looked at the gym, and now we're starting to walk down a hallway, and to my right, what am I going to see?
Sure. So one thing that we did not have or don't have at our current site is a clinic for a nurse, and a space for the children to come when they don't feel well, for waiting for parents to come pick them up or what have you. So it will be very nice to have that space, a clinic for our children. The next office is our family services office, and that office is beautiful. It gives each of our family services ladies a private area to work. They can still communicate to one another, but private for meeting with families if they need to. There's a table in there as well where they can sit and visit with a family when we're doing enrollment, or if we're working with them on a family goal, we have a space to do that. So that's really exciting. That's something that we don't have currently, is a private space for them to talk with families. And that was something that was very important to us in the building planning. The next area really comes into our special services for the children. We offer within our program occupational therapy, physical therapy, speech therapy, and all of those areas are located in that same area of the building, all within a short distance of one another. And in our current site, our physical therapists and occupational therapists often use the hallway in the school or the gymnasium to provide services for their children, and they will no longer need to do that. They'll have their own space, which is such a benefit for the students. I'm so pleased with that. As you come on down that hallway, there's a gorgeous, I think my favorite room in the building is the library. It is full of windows and beautifully lit, and there's going to be child-sized furniture in there for them to sit and curl up and enjoy a book, and that is a big difference from what we have currently. Right now we have a room with books. We don't have a library, and this will give the children an opportunity to really bring that learning to life for themselves, to sit down and really curl up with a book. We also have a resource classroom in that same area for special education services. If they're not providing service in the classroom as an inclusion model, there are students that are pulled for a short period of time for some additional assistance. Right now, that's done in at best, a closet-sized room, and they will now have a full-size, nearly full-size classroom with the same amenities that are in the other classrooms. And that was another area that we focused on in the planning of the building. That was very important to make sure we included. The two wings of the classrooms, one wing is focused on 4-year-olds. All of the 4-year-old classrooms are in one wing. The 3-year-olds and multi-age rooms are in the other wing, so that those two are separated for ease of location of classrooms. The two extra classrooms, as we would call them at the moment, because we serve 12 currently and have 14 classrooms available. One of those classrooms, we have plans to provide some sensory type support in in one of the rooms, with some, we're seeking a grant at the moment for some materials and physical kind of things to put in that room. Things like a swing for them to rest on that gives them some input and motion. We find that, we have a lot of students that have those sensory input needs, and that's a wonderful space that we'll be able to utilize to do just that, to meet those needs. The other classroom, we don't have a use planned other than the possibility, if we can seek that extended child care for morning and afternoon. That is a goal of ours to be able to provide in the near future. And still working out the details, but that would be a room that we would use to do that. So those rooms are not wasted space. They will be well utilized, purposefully utilized.
In my time in education, I don't think any school ever has wasted space.
No, very true.
There's always, and in many cases, gives you opportunity to do things that you otherwise couldn't do.
Exactly.
As you mentioned.
Exactly.
I noticed when we were in the classroom, again, welcoming.
Yes.
Storage space.
Yes.
Modern restroom facilities.
Yes.
Opportunities for the teacher to have multiple activities going on in
Yes.
space. Light from both outside and inside light.
Yes.
A place that anyone would want to have their child there to learn.
Yes.
One of the things too that I noticed in the classroom, and this may just, and probably I would never notice this had you not mentioned it, but you've kind of color oriented the rooms.
Yes.
Explain that.
Sure. So as you're walking through the corridors, you'll notice bands of color kind of separating the pods, the pairs of classrooms. So for instance, there's a green band between these two classrooms and the next two classrooms. And when you go inside the classroom, that same green is a small trim across the main entrance of that classroom, and then some padding on seats as well. So there's a nice without overdoing it. There's a nice amount of a balance of color, and it really brings everything together really well. It really is quite pretty, very pretty.
So in the classroom, there, as I mentioned, a lot of nice aspects
Yes.
in that room. Tell me one that just really jumps out that you're so glad is in that classroom, if you can. I know there's a lot.
Yes, ooh, technology. I think the capacity to have technology in the classroom. And I want to be clear, when I talk about technology, I'm not talking about additional devices to hand to a child and occupy their time. They get plenty of screen time, and that's not what we intend to do with technology at the preschool. But as we think about aligning our goals with the district goals and the possibility of being a STEM certified preschool, that ability to have the technology in the classroom is critical. And with that, there will be active boards to interact with technology as a teaching tool, as an instructional tool. And that can bring to life the curriculum that we're teaching in the classroom. If we're using our creative curriculum, they do specific studies. So currently we have a group of our classrooms doing a study on buildings because we're building a new preschool. And they've been able to incorporate, as I send them pictures, they're able to print out or show the children pictures of our new building. Well, when they get here, they can pull that up on a 60-inch screen and walk them through the building, bringing it to life. So taking what we're able to do currently a step further, or maybe 10 steps further, and really bringing us into the 21st century, really bringing us up to date and current with the district. That was really important to us, to make sure that we're aligned with the STEM initiative that's in our district.
So that would be an item that currently the teachers do not have in their classroom and will have when they get here.
Yes, we have one currently, one classroom that has an active board, and it was because a teacher wrote a grant through the Oak Ridge Education Foundation, and it was granted because she could buy the same thing that they knew we were putting in here and could be moved over. So we have one currently, and that's it. So we're very excited about that.
I know, and I hope that those parents, and I hope you will encourage your parents to watch this.
Yes,
I
we
know
will.
parents, anytime you move to something new, there's got to be some uncertainty about, well, what's going to happen when we go in that door the first time. And I hope we'll encourage your parents to watch this and look at it, and then when they get here on that first day,
Yes.
maybe this will help them feel just a little bit comfortable.
Yes.
I think too it's important for people to understand you have great teachers in
We
your
sure
building.
do. Yes, we do.
But because they now have a new facility, it's going to give them the opportunity to be even better teachers.
Yes.
To use their skills with new technology, to have a space that provides them with new opportunities. So they have to be excited. I know they are.
They are.
Apprehensive, I'm sure.
Yes, absolutely. We have teachers who there are a couple in our building who have really quite literally spent their entire teaching career in the classroom where they are.
Right.
And that creates a tremendous amount of anxiety of thinking about, what do I pack? How do I pack it? What's my new room going to be like? But there's not a single staff member who isn't chomping at the bit to get over here,
I'm sure.
and just get it started, and let's just get in there and get to teaching in this beautiful facility.
Well, I think, and help me if we haven't, I know there's rooms we've left out probably. There is a nice teacher work area.
There is.
to give the teachers a chance maybe to go in and just catch their breath for a little bit.
Yes.
Any other areas that you can think of that we haven't mentioned?
Maybe the only other thing, and I don't know if the public would prioritize it as much as the teachers do, but the additional storage that's available to them in the hallway and those corridors. And it sounds silly, but the laundry rooms.
Yes, we did mention that, yes.
A laundry room in each wing.
Yes.
Each corridor will have their own washer and dryer, which is a huge improvement from what we have now, and the capacity of the new washers and dryers as well, so that they can wash all of their linens in one load and things like that. So it's the little things that make really big differences in saving time and effort for the staff so that they can focus more of their time on the students. So.
And this is one of the things that Alan and I did not talk about, but I know it is an important aspect. This is a very energy effective and energy efficient building.
Yes.
Unlike where we were coming from.
Yes.
I know you have spent many, many hours, and I know there's times that probably you and Alan just wanted to bang your heads against the wall and say, are we ever going to get through this? Is this ever going to happen? But it is happening.
Yes, it is.
It's exciting. And we mentioned this, and certainly it's important that we thank the City of Oak Ridge for their willingness to step up and to help make this happen. Our school administration, from the superintendent and his staff, but particularly you and your staff, and Alan and his staff. You might want to get here the first day and just kind of go into the office and sit down and go,
you'll probably find me doing just that.
I'm finally here. And it will be also a learning experience because there's going to be new things. There's going to be some new rules for the kids here as well.
Yes.
I would mention that sometime, once we get everything balanced out here, there will be a community open house. So we hope that the community will come by and see this. We are going to have just a very short ribbon cutting on March the 30th to be here to welcome the kids and staff as they get here. Again, let me thank Alan and Lisa, you both, for taking your time today to be here. Let me thank Dave Kolodny, who's doing the filming and who will be filming all the aspects of the school that we've talked about, so you can view them and not just hear us talk about them as well. So anything else?
Yes. I really want to reiterate the thanks to the city and the Board of Education and everyone who came together to make this possible for our children. I get emotional about it because our children and our families that we serve deserve this. And it's been such a long time coming.
Yes, yes.
And we just appreciate it from the bottom of our hearts and are quite excited about it. So thank you to everyone that's been involved in this long road to get to this beautiful place.
And one other person I would like to mention, and Alan and I were talking about this, and I mentioned that that day that we first brought a group of people together to try to visualize and come up, we really need a big thank you to Dr. Shirley Raines, who chaired that committee for us, kept us on task, kept us moving in the right direction, and she was very instrumental to helping get this off the ground. So a big thanks to her as well, and
very true.
I know she'll be excited to see this. So, thank everybody again. Thanks for watching. We're on location at the new Oak Ridge Preschool, opening March the 30th. I'm Keith Fillauer for the Board of Education. We'll see you next time.